Alright guys, so get out of my way so I can see what I'm doing here. We got ourselves the carburetor for my Mach 26, which you guys saw in the last video. And I think from if you guys actually watched the whole video, I mentioned that the carburetor was stuck, but good. So we have our carburetor in here. This is just, you can see the coloration in there. It used to be clear, but I used, what do we got here? 99% rubbing alcohol. You can use denatured alcohol or heat, and the yellow or red bottle, it doesn't really matter. They won't hurt the rubber parts. And I let it soak in there because it was absolutely stuck. So, and I also removed the dust cover, which is right here. Also make sure these aren't damaged. I'm going to take this and wash it with some hot soapy water, but take it and kind of pull on it and make sure it's nice and flexible, and make sure there's no cracks, because if you have cracks in here or this is missing or all chewed up, it's also an air leak. And you'll also have to remove this right here, the throttle arm, which, if you guys don't know the size, is a 1.5 millimeter, which fits in there. And then you'll just have to put on reclock it after, which we'll do. Alright, so I'm going to pull on this together and see what we get here. Oh, it went. Okay, good. Yeah, because this has been sitting in there for, since the video, my last video, so it's sticky, but it would not move at all. Like, I actually had to put quite a bit of force there to break that loose. So, what we're going to do is I don't have any brake parts cleaner at the moment, and I'm just going to dry this guy off a little bit. And what you can also do is just get like a toothbrush. This carburetor's going to be run again anyways, but just for that little demonstration, I guess, because some of you guys asked if I could make a video about it after, so I did. That's what I'm doing now. But now it's moving. So, yeah, basically just grab yourself a can of brake parts cleaner, non-chlorinated, and spray inside, outside. Get yourself some Q-tips, some clean alcohol, and go inside and clean up the throttle barrel. You don't often have to take the slide out. Sometimes you do, and if you want to take it out, you just use that little flathead screw right there, and then this will pop out and you can pop it back in. Pretty easy. But for fun, I will grab my screwdriver wherever it is, and we will take that out and we will look at it together. Okay, welcome back. So we're going to remove our dirt from my finger. For fuck's sakes. Okay. Remove our idle stop screw all the way. There should be an O-ring there. You can see the varnish on it on my finger, which is no bueno. So then pay attention to which way the slide goes in. See, there's that groove right here. That groove lines up with the slot here. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go grab myself, actually I'll just use a Q-tip and some of this alcohol here to clean that up with. Just go in there. Sometimes there's a spring down in there, sometimes there's not. So just be aware of that. And you can see all the yucky varnish. And like I said, you don't have to remove your low-speed needle to clean your carburetor. All you have to do is just remove your high-speed needle. Sometimes you don't even have to do this, just pop this out, like so. And should be an O-ring there. If I get the damn thing, it'll be doing perfect. All right, on. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to go get myself some cleaner here. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just got myself some electrical contact cleaner because that's all I've got at the moment. That does not matter. Spray some on our Q-tip there. I'm going to go down here. Clean this out. Wasn't very dirty, but usually you want to take this guy off, unscrew it, take it off, and clean out, use a pin. Yeah, maybe I'll just do that. Hold on a sec, I gotta grab a wrench too. Kind of unprepared for this video. Alright. So upon taking this apart, there is 2 aluminum washers. Do not lose them. You take off your banjo fitting, or fuel nipple, whatever you want to call it. If it doesn't want to come off, don't worry about it. And just take your pin and run your pin. Not a piece of hair that stuck to my finger. Take your pin, and run it in and out of there. You can also grab like a wire, like a bristle brush, and pull one of the bristles out and use that wire too to run in there and make sure everything's nice and clean. You can blow that out with some compressed air. Make sure not to blow it out of your fingers. And then just make sure it flows nice and free. Then grab your carburetor body, and there's the jet, which is right, let's see if I can point it out with a straw. Right there. It's hard to see because I'm looking through the viewfinder, but right here. So take your cleaner, watch the center. Let's see how there's flow happening inside. That way you know, if you can see the cleaner spraying out from inside the carburetor, you know it's clean. And of course, make sure you clean this out. Just like so. You don't have to go overboard with it, but we'll put this back together. And make sure you clock it in the correct direction that you had it before. Take a picture with your phone. And just put a little dab of oil in those threads there. You don't really have to, but it's just something I do. Not all really necessary. I'll reclock this when I know what vehicle I'm putting it in. But for now, it's just going to go back on the way it was. So we're going to snug that down and give that just a little tiny turn. That's it, not much. And don't use vice grips. It's the wrong tool. Use a proper wrench. I didn't even tighten it enough to tighten it properly. But if this is loose and your RC car is running and this is flopping everywhere, you're going to have a big air leak, a big fuel leak, and tuning issues all over the place. I promise. So let's tighten that back up again a little bit because I didn't tighten it enough. And be careful if it's plastic bodied, because you can strip this out. Even if it's aluminum, you have to be really careful. You can strip that out real easy. So we're going to take our screws. This is our idle speed screw. That's clean. Our high speed jet is clean. So we're going to put our high speed jet back in. Put some oil here. Also make sure the O-rings aren't cracked or dried or missing, because if they are, you'll have a leak, and your high speed needle can just spin, and your engine will change its tune constantly and drive you absolutely mental. So if that's happening, buy a new O-ring kit. Sometimes they're available, sometimes they're not, so that's kind of annoying. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this, because I don't know the factory carburetor settings for any engine. So we're going to go, let's see, all the way close. We're going to go 1, 2.5, basically flush, like so. That's kind of where I set them there. We're going to put our, we're going to clean this guy first, but put our slide back in. Yeah, you can see all that varnish that just came out of there. Yuck. I don't know how long these engines sat for or anything about it. So this is from Dave. Again, hey Dave, if you're watching, thanks bro, I really appreciate it. Yeah, so what we're going to do is just clean this up. Don't sand this at all. I mean, you could polish it if you wanted, but it's often not necessary to get that staining off. Unless it's binding up really bad, then maybe take some 5,000 or some 10,000 and just a little tiny bit, but be very careful if you do that, because you can wear out the clearance between here and here. And if you do that, it'll be loose and you'll have an air leak issue, and then it will never run right. And you don't want to do that. And then we're going to go, where are we looking here? Inside again, make sure we're nice and clean. See, there's still some shit in there. So when you think you're done cleaning, clean it some more. There's still a little bit, so we're going to keep on cleaning here. Yeah, just disorganized today. Nice and lovely like. Yeah, so we're coming out nice and clean. It's good. So we're not going to bother taking our low speed needle out. You can, or if you want, actually I'll just take that on a video right now. And then you guys can see how I set those, just in case you're curious. Actually, probably a good thing we're taking this thing out anyways, because it's got a little bit of shit on it. I don't often take them out, but you can. You don't have to, but yeah, it is varnished. And I am going to make a video about the Dynamite 19 and the starter back plate replacement stuff. Like I said, I've just been really busy with customers today and kind of scatterbrained and completely forgot about this. So I thought while I'm at it for a minute here, I can make you guys a quick little video to watch. Yeah, there's a little bit of shit in there. Give that a quick little blast. Yeah, it's all real simple stuff and nothing to be really afraid of. Okay. Nice and clean. And put some oil on our needle here. A little bit on the O-ring, just so it's nice and lubricated when it goes in. Lick it before you stick it, guys. And we're going to go in flush with this guy here. Probably flush with the outside collar, like so. It'll probably be set too lean, but that's okay. I mean, it's going to be quite a while before this engine runs again anyways, so we can always just adjust it from there. That's what I kind of do, is set everything independently, like flush here, flush there, 1 millimeter, and then work from there. If it starts up, it's a bit lean, then I just adjust as necessary. So I'll put some oil in our slide. And remember, that slot goes towards the idle speed screw. Because if you can put these in backwards, and if you do, your slide can jump around and stick open on you and cause all sorts of grief. So we're going to line up our slide, put our slide all the way in, put some oil on this. Idle speed screw, idle stop screw, whatever you want to call it. And see, as soon as you get it in a couple of turns, it'll hold the slide from popping out. Obviously, it's way too far out yet. So hold the slide down with your finger and turn your speed screw in until you achieve an idle gap. See our idle gap there. It's going to go a little bit bigger, so about 1.5, something like that. So it'll be a little bit fast idle, but that's where we're going to leave it for now. There's also 2 O-rings. There's one that goes here, and there's one on here. You've got to make sure you put both those back, because that'll be an air leak if you don't. Make sure these O-rings aren't dried, rotted, or boogered up or missing or anything, and don't go gooping the shit out of it with silicone. That's not the right way to do things. What we're going to do is take our boot here, which is in very good condition. Yeah, it's probably clean enough. Then we're going to take a little bit of our oil, put it inside the boot, a little bit on the outside. There's a bit of oil on here. And then slip on the condom. Make sure it seats all the way around. Take your time, don't rush. Rushing gets you absolutely nowhere. My mom is rushing, my dad's rushing, but I'm in no hurry. There, you should hear that sound. That means that it's all sealing up in here, so that's a good sign. Next, we're going to take our throttle arm. I'll put this guy back on. This can be confusing with flush or not flush if you have a setup like that. So you want to go flush with the inner lip, not the outer lip. As you can see, because if you went all the way flush to this outer lip, the screw will actually fall out. So you want to go flush with the inner lip. Or probably maybe three turns out. So this carburetor sits on the block, like so. We're just going to aim it down for now. It doesn't really matter at this point because, like I said, it can be adjusted to any orientation you want. Push on it. And then tighten it down. You don't need to crank the shit out of it, but you want it tight. Smart tight, like pay attention tight. Like don't go cranking it, because if you strip that, you'll have to buy another one. Or if it's not tight enough, when you pull the throttle, this can pop off and your throttle can be left at wide open. Your truck will fuck off on you. So that's just a quick overview of how I clean carburetors, kind of clean and oil, get them unstuck, is just put them in a strong alcohol with a sealed lid for a few days, or again, take off all the O-rings or rubber parts like your idle bead screw. All this stuff comes off, this stuff comes off, and then sit this in hot green antifreeze for a couple of days if you guys have a crock pot, if you're already doing that. And that'll work for you. And just put a little bit of extra oil down there. Underside. And there you go. Pretty easy. Nothing to worry about. And if you're worried about where your screws were before, count how many flats they were. You can go with full turns or half turns. So you go, say it was 3 half turns, or 1.5 full turns, whatever. So just pay attention to where your needle's at, or if you know what the factory settings are, put it at that after you put it back together, and you'll be fine. You'll obviously have to readjust all your settings as usual, which is no big deal if you know how to do that. Also, we have our return spring, which goes on something like that, I think. Pretty sure that's how it went on. However it went on. Something to that effect. That return spring was already on there, so anyways. There she be, guys. So hopefully that kind of sheds a little bit of light for the questions that were asked about how I quickly clean and oil a carburetor that's stuck. And there you go. Anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Keep on burning nitro out there. Happy Friday. Motherfucker beer time.